My mom stood up for me, but it left me with mixed feelings. Ever since she was a kid, my daughter has blamed me for everything bad that's ever happened to her, even the smallest things. If she tripped, if she lost something, if things didn't go her way, somehow it was always my fault. I thought she'd grow out of it, but she never did. Now she's 35, recently lost her job, and still blames me for the fact that her life didn't turn out the way she wanted. According to her, it's because I never taught her how to be independent, how to handle problems, how to be successful. That day, we were arguing when my mom or grandmother stepped in, and for the first time, someone finally put her in her place. She firmly told her that I raised her and her two brothers on my own while working and studying, that I never once asked her to take care of them because my mom helped me with that. That if I could handle all of that, then blaming me for her failures made no sense. It was a tough moment. A part of me felt relieved that someone else finally saw it and said it out loud. But at the same time, it hurt to see her like that, forced to face reality. I don't know if my mom's words will make her reflect or if she'll keep looking for someone to blame. I just hope that one day she understands that I did the best I could and that her life is her responsibility now. My husband forgot my Valentine's gift, so I did this. I'm a 23-year-old woman, and since my husband and I got together, I've always told him how much Valentine's Day means to me. I'm not the kind of person who asks for much. I rarely ever dope it this year. I really wanted a small gift, just a little something to show he thought of me. I even dropped hints in the days leading up to it. Nothing expensive, just simple things: a bouquet of flowers, a foot massager, maybe a cozy sweater. The day finally came, and I was waiting by the door, all dressed up and excited. When he walked in, I smiled and asked, "So, where's my gift?" Silence. He froze for a second, then started fumbling for excuses. Work had been busy, he lost track of time, blah blah blah. I didn't argue. I just smiled, turned around, and walked straight to the kitchen. I took the roast I had been slow cooking for hours and hid it in the washing machine. Then, I grabbed all the perfectly plated side dishes, dumped them into a single container, and stuffed that in the washer too. I covered everything with laundry, shut the lid, and locked myself in our bedroom. A few minutes later, he knocked on the door, muttering apologies, trying to talk his way out of it. Then, after a while, he finally asked, sounding confused, "Babe, didn't you make dinner?" From inside our bedroom, I yelled back, just as sweetly as I had greeted him at the door, "No gift, no dinner." And I stayed there, relaxing, enjoying my Valentine's Day alone.
My student is blackmailing me, and I don't know what to do. I'm a high school teacher, and I've always tried to keep my personal and professional life completely separate. But now, I'm in trouble. One of my students knows something about me, something no one else should ever know. It all started a few weeks ago. After class, when everyone else had left, this girl stayed behind, and with complete calm, she said, "We need to talk, sir." I crossed my arms, expecting a question about the subject, but what she said next sent chills down my spine. "I know your secret." I tried to stay composed. "I don't know what you're talking about." She pulled out her phone and held up the screen. I can't even describe what I felt at that moment. Right there, in front of my eyes, was something that could ruin me. I swallowed my pride and asked as calmly as I could, "What do you want?" She smiled, like she had been waiting for that exact question. "Don't worry, sir. I don't want money or anything illegal. I just need a little favor." And then, she told me what she wanted in exchange for her silence. "I just need you to bump up my grade in your class. Not too much, just enough so I don't fail." I knew it was wrong. I knew giving in would only make things worse for me. But the alternative was worse. I couldn't risk this getting out. So, hoping this would be the end of it, I did it. I raised her grade. Just a little. Just enough to pass without drawing suspicion. I hope this is over. I hope she won't ask for anything else. But deep down, I have a bad feeling. Update 1. My student is blackmailing me, and she won't stop. If I thought this was over, I was completely wrong. A week passed where everything seemed normal. No messages, no strange looks. For a moment, I thought maybe it was just a scare, that she got what she wanted and had moved on. Then, one day after class, she stayed behind again. I felt a chill run down my spine. She didn't even need to say anything. The moment I saw that smug little smile, I knew. "I need another favor, sir." My throat went dry. "What do you want now?" "Relax. I just need the answers to the next test. Nothing major." This time, I didn't answer right away. She pulled out her phone and casually twirled it in her fingers, reminding me of what she had stored inside. "I'd hate to have to show this to someone, but if you don't help me, I'll be in trouble. And if I'm in trouble, so are you." I stared at her in silence. We both knew I had no choice. So I did it. If anyone reads this, please, I need advice. I'm trapped, and I don't see a way out. Update 2. My student was blackmailing me until everything blew up. I knew this wouldn't end well. After my last post, a lot of people told me not to keep giving in, to seek help before things got even worse. So, I took their advice. That same afternoon, I went to the principal's office. I walked in, shut the door behind me, and finally said the words I had been avoiding for weeks. One of my students is blackmailing me. The principal looked at me, completely taken aback. What are you talking about? I took a deep breath. There was no turning back. Years ago, when I was young, I had a gambling problem. I got into debt and had to do things I'm not proud of to pay off my mistakes. It took me years to fix my life. But now, someone found something from my past and is using it against me. There was a long pause. And what does this student want? For me to raise her grades, give her answers to tests, and every time, she asks for more. The principal sighed and leaned back in his chair. You gave in, didn't you? I lowered my gaze. Yes. Another silence. Finally, he sat up and said, I'll handle this, but as of today, you're suspended. We need to evaluate the situation. I nodded. I had screwed up. But at least, this was finally over. A few days later, I got an email from the school. We appreciate your honesty, but we have decided to terminate your employment. I lost my job. But you know what? I don't regret it. Thanks to those who advised me, I made the right choice before this could get even worse. I don't know what's next, but I'm going to follow their advice. I won't let this define me. I'm going to move forward. Final update. I lost everything. But at least, I took back control. Hey everyone. I didn't think I'd be posting again, but I just found out something I thought you all should know. Now, this should be my last update. I hope. A few days after receiving my termination letter, I went back to the school to pick up my things. It felt strange walking through those halls, knowing I didn't belong there anymore. While I was gathering my stuff, I ran into a teacher I used to get along with. She invited me for coffee. We went to a cafe right across from the school. Before she could even say anything, I asked, Do you know what happened to the girl? She put her cup down and gave me a knowing look. Oh yeah, it was a disaster. She leaned in a little and lowered her voice. They called her into the principal's office and managed to get her phone before she could do anything. Her parents were there. At first, they tried to defend her, but when they saw the photo, well, she didn't even have it hidden. It was right there in her gallery. They had no choice but to accept the truth. I nodded. I figured as much. Did they expel her? She shook her head. Not exactly. They made a deal with her parents. To avoid the scandal of an official expulsion, they agreed to withdraw her voluntarily. Then she added something that really got me thinking. But the whole school found out. She gave me a small, ironic smile. Her name is ruined. No other school in the city will take her. Her parents are looking to move so she can start fresh somewhere else. I just sat there, silent. I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't feel sorry for her, either. Just an odd sense of relief. I didn't come out of this unscathed, but at least I didn't have to live under that pressure anymore. I lost my job, but in the end, she faced consequences too. And for those asking about the photo, it was an old picture of me, years ago, sitting at a casino table, a pile of chips in front of me, some questionable substances scattered on the table. It wasn't recent, and I've already paid for that mistake, but it was enough to ruin my reputation. And it almost did. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice. I don't know what's next for me, but one thing's for sure. I'm moving on.
I'm obsessed with South Korea, and I'm not giving up. Hi, my name is Emma, I'm 18, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I won't lie, I'm obsessed with South Korea. I love everything about it. K-dramas, the music, the fashion, the culture, and yes, Korean guys too. A while ago, I started using a dating app, and honestly, I pretty much swipe right on any Asian guy that looks Korean because my dream is to have a love story just like in the dramas. But so far, reality has been very different. The first guy I talked to, well, turns out he was dating multiple girls at the same time. He told me he was just keeping his options open, and that it was normal there. The second one was even weirder. He said he had never been with a foreigner before and just wanted to experiment. Wow, so romantic. And the third was the worst. He was handsome, spoke great English, and seemed really polite. Then he asked me about my family. I told him my mom passed away when I was 10, and that my dad raised me on his own, that he's a mechanic and has worked hard for everything we have. He went silent for a moment. And then he laughed. Not in a funny way, more like a sarcastic chuckle. After that, the conversation got awkward, and he disappeared. But I'm not giving up. I know that somewhere out there's a Korean guy who actually wants a love story worthy of a K-drama with me.
My boss asked me to work for free. My boss asked me to put in a few extra hours unpaid. He said it was for the good of the team, and that the company needed it. Such a noble cause, right? Of course I said yes. But while I was smiling, I started collecting evidence like I was starring in a Netflix legal drama. Chats, voice notes, emails. Even one glorious voicemail where he says, "Don't worry about payment, this is about commitment." So I headed straight to the labor inspection office and handed over my FBI-level evidence collection. The result? A fine of over $10,000 for the company. And the cherry on top, I got fired. But since I had everything documented, they had to pay me full severance. The best part? Now I work freelance. From home, no bosses, and I make twice as much. Thanks for everything, boss. Really. My parents punished me for having good grades. I got the best grades in my class. Perfect GPA, not a single subject below top marks. I spent weeks studying like crazy. No parties, barely slept, but it was worth it. The teacher congratulated me in front of everyone. I felt proud. Really proud. I got home, excited, thinking my parents would be happy too. But no, they got upset. They said I thought I was better than everyone else. That's why I had no friends. That's why no one invited me to anything. They grounded me. No phone, no computer, no going out. They even took away my dinner. All because I got good grades. Meanwhile, other parents post on Facebook saying, "My kid's a genius." I just wanted a simple congrats. Now I don't tell them anything. My roommate kept stealing my food, so I cooked up something special. I've got this roommate who's basically a fridge ninja. But not just stealing any food. I cook, label it, store it nice and neat. And the next day, poof, a little rice gone, a sausage missing, an empty container like a ghost snack hit it. I asked him if it was him. He said nope, must have been the air. Right, the air's hungry now. So I made something extra tasty. Creamy pasta, ham, grated cheese, and a little secret ingredient, powdered laxative. Left it right there in the fridge, front and center. Next day, the bathroom was booked for 3 straight hours. Somebody called in sick. He never touched my food again. And in case you're wondering, nope, no regrets.
I thought I was starting a business, but I walked right into a scam. I'm 37 and was looking for a way to make money. Someone told me about a resin course. It was free at first and promised you'd make good money selling what you made. It sounded perfect, creative, profitable, and from home. But after a few weeks, things started getting weird. They wanted me to buy insanely expensive materials, invest in special kits, and bring more people into the course to level up. Spoiler, it wasn't a course, it was a pyramid scheme. I lost my savings. I didn't sell a single piece. When I couldn't pay rent anymore, I had no choice but to move back in with my parents. They welcomed me no questions asked along with my 2 cats. But I can't stop feeling like a failure. I just wanted to move forward. And I ended up right where I started. I gave the persistent guy a chance and regretted it instantly. There's this guy at school who always said he liked me. Not super popular, but not a nobody either. He would text me, find me during breaks, say I was the girl of his dreams. Even my friends joked about how obsessed he was. I didn't see him that way, but after so much insisting, I thought, why not give him a chance? We grabbed some fries after class. It was fine. Until I asked something super basic. "So, what do you like about me?" He went quiet, then said, "I don't know, you're pretty and stuff, but mostly 'cause everyone wants you and like, I got to you first." My face. My urge to leave. And my wish to slap past me for saying yes. I left him right there, didn't yell, didn't say anything. Just walked away. I pretended to have a sugar daddy and almost got attacked. I'm 17 and not long ago I went with my grandpa to help him collect his pension. That day I was dressed like I usually do, a little sexy, because that's just my style, but I noticed people were giving us weird looks. So I had a stupidly funny idea. I decided to pretend I was exactly what they were all thinking. My grandpa didn't freak out at all. He actually played along, laughing the whole time. We were having fun watching people's faces. Until one woman stormed over, furious. She insulted me. Said that a girl like me had taken all her dad's savings, and she actually tried to hit me. I told her it was just my grandpa, that we were joking, but she didn't believe me. She walked away totally outraged, and I just kept thinking, maybe I had taken the joke way too far. But hey, it was just a joke. Or was it? My friend shares everything on social media until it almost got her kidnapped. My friend is one of those people who post absolutely everything online. If she orders food, she posts it. If she's in the bathroom and thinks of something deep, she posts that too. I used to think it was a bit much, but hey, everyone does what they want, right? One day we went out to eat. It was a quiet spot, nothing fancy, but she still posted a story with the food and the exact location. I even joked, "Here we go, geotagging ourselves again," and she laughed. All good. We ate, talked, laughed. When we were heading back to the car, this guy walks up to us. He didn't look lost, walked straight toward us. He calls her by name and says, "It's you, right? I follow you on Instagram, I saw you were here." He smiled, but the vibe was off, unsettling. She gave him an awkward, "Oh, cool," but then he said, "You looked alone in the story, thought we could grab a drink." That's when it got weird. She told him no, that she wasn't alone and we were leaving, but he kept pushing. Then he grabbed her arm, like it was no big deal. He said, "Come on, just for a little bit, don't be like that." That was it for me. I stepped between them, shoved him back, and yelled at him to let go. He stared at us angry, let go, mumbled something we didn't catch, and walked off fast but kept turning around like he expected us to follow or something. We called the cops, but you can guess what they said: no clear aggression, nothing they could really do. Just stay safe. After that, she deleted around 200 posts, stopped sharing her live location, and now anytime someone tells her she's being paranoid or it's not that serious, she just looks them straight in the eye and says, "It already happened to me." AITA for not letting my sister meet my son? My sister and I haven't spoken in almost 6 years. When I got pregnant, she told me straight to my face that it was a mistake, that I was ruining my life, and that my boyfriend probably wasn't even the father. She said that in front of our parents, during a family dinner while I was 5 months pregnant. I cut her off after that. No visits when my son was born, no birthdays, no holidays, nothing. 2 weeks ago, she messaged me. Said she was going through a spiritual healing phase, cleansing her energy, and that she needed to mend things between us. I ignored her. 3 days later, I got a notification from my son's daycare. A woman had tried to pick him up, claiming to be his aunt. They didn't let her take him, but now I'm freaking out. I confronted her. She said she just wanted to meet him, that she wasn't going to do anything, and that she had the right because blood is blood. I reported her. Now my parents are furious at me, saying I overreacted and that she's just trying to fix the relationship. I don't know if I'm being paranoid or if they're just blind, but someone who once hated you out loud shouldn't get quiet access to your child. At 12, I was already doing everything around the house. I'm 23 now, but this happened when I was 12. It's still hard to talk about without getting angry or confused. At home, I was basically raised to serve my brother, and no, I'm not exaggerating. I had to wash his clothes, cook for him, clean his room, and even pick up his dirty laundry from the floor. Like I was his maid, and the worst part? My mom didn't just allow it, she thought it was normal. It was just the 3 of us, my mom, my older brother, and me. He had a job, but he didn't contribute anything at home. He spent all his paycheck on alcohol or going out. And even though he was an adult, he acted like a spoiled kid who needed to be waited on. One day, I was doing the dishes and he threw his dirty clothes next to me and said, "Pick that up." I said no. I told him I was tired of doing everything for him. My mom, who was listening from the other room, came in and slapped me across the face without saying a word. I left crying. That same night, I packed a bag and went to live with my grandma. There wasn't a big fight or dramatic goodbye. I just left. She took me in without asking anything. And from that day on, I haven't had a relationship with my brother or my mom.
What's the most ridiculous thing a customer has ever told you? I'm 21 and I work at a clothing store. Nothing fancy, just your average retail job, usually chill, until the creative customers show up. This guy comes in with a couple items and says, they're 40% off. I let him know that promo ended 2 weeks ago. That's when the drama starts. He goes, one of the employees told me it was still valid. So I ask him who, and he starts, pointing at random people. Asterisk. First, he points at this kid. It's literally his first day. Then he points at a customer browsing shoes. Then he says, actually, it was a girl. Well, guess what? No women work in that section. Asterisk, asterisk. The only one who used to? She's been on maternity leave for 5 months. Nothing added up. I kept my best, don't lose your soul face, and told him again nicely that the discount couldn't be applied. He said he'd file a complaint. I told him, go ahead. Maybe send it to the imaginary girl while he's at it. He ended up paying full price, but gave me a look like I ruined his entire week. If only he used that much energy for something productive.
What's your most embarrassing habit? I'm 37, and I still sleep with a chair next to my bed empty like someone's sitting there watching over me. It started when I was 6. My dad had just passed away and I couldn't sleep alone. I begged my mom to stay with me, but she always said she had things to do, that I was old enough. So one night, I put a chair next to my bed and imagined he was sitting there protecting me. It was the only way I could fall asleep. Years went by, but the chair stayed. I know it sounds ridiculous. No one knows about it. When someone comes over, I hide it. But when I'm alone, I always bring it back. That empty chair makes me feel a little less alone, like someone still cares, like I'm not completely invisible. I know there's no one sitting there. I know that. But I still can't let it go. And the saddest part? I don't think I want to. I found out my husband records me while I sleep. It all started when I began waking up feeling weird dry mouth, groggy, like I hadn't rested even though I didn't remember staying up late. I told my husband I thought I might be sleep-talking or having nightmares. He said, yeah, I sometimes talked nonsense and moved a lot. I believed him. One night, I decided to check our home security cameras. We have some pointing at the hallway for safety, none in our bedroom, or so I thought. When I opened the connected devices panel, I saw something I didn't recognize, StreamCam 4. I traced the signal. It was coming from inside our bedroom. I found it, a tiny camera hidden inside an old desk clock he'd placed on his nightstand months ago. I said nothing, waited until he left for work and checked the memory card. Videos. Over 60 files. All of me sleeping, some several hours long. Nothing sexual, just me sleeping. Sometimes I talked, sometimes I didn't. That's it. Confronting him was useless. He said it was in case I said something important in my sleep, and that he did it because he loved me, not out of perversion. That it was his way of feeling closer to me. I left that same night. I wasn't scared that he watched me sleep. I was scared that he thought it was okay.
At 16, I was left with no food, no home, and no family. I'm 25 now, and for the first time in my life, I can say I have a family. But not the one I was born into. I don't know much about my biological mom. Sometimes they told me she died, other times they said she abandoned me. It was never clear. But honestly, I didn't care, because since I was 8, survival mattered more than answers. I grew up with my dad and his wife. Saying they raised me would be generous. I cleaned the house, figured out what to eat, and went days without anyone speaking to me. They never cooked for me. At 14, they told me I wasn't allowed to touch the food in the house anymore. If I wanted to eat, I had to figure it out myself. I had to drop out of high school where I should have been at that age and find any kind of work. I sold gum, cleaned windows, anything. At 16, they kicked me out. No warning, no suitcase. I spent a full year sleeping on the street. Sometimes at a bus stop, sometimes in a park. Sometimes hungry. Always alone. One day, I was asking for food outside a supermarket when I saw an older woman struggling with too many bags. I offered to help. She looked scared at first, but when she saw I wasn't trying to steal or hurt her, she let me walk her to her car. She gave me a sandwich. It became a pattern. She'd find me, offer something. I'd help her. Then one day she said she'd spoken to her sister and they wanted to offer me a place to stay. I was worried. Not for me, for them. Why would they trust a stranger? She told me her sister was a social worker. She'd looked into my case. They knew enough to not be afraid. It was supposed to be temporary. But here I am, 8 years later, living with them, about to graduate with a degree in social work. No, I wasn't the top of my class. I didn't graduate with honors. It took me longer because I kept working to help them, and school was never easy for me. But I made it. And now I look at my 2 moms smiling with pride. Because no, you don't need to share blood to be family. And being related doesn't guarantee love. My mother is dying, and her family acts like she doesn't exist. I'm 38 years old, and I'm watching my mother slowly fade away. She's sick, weak, sometimes forgetful, but she's still here. She still breathes, still smiles, still recognizes faces. And yet, it feels like everyone already decided she's no longer worth seeing. My mother has 5 brothers and 3 sisters. Only 2 have come to visit the ones with the least money, the ones who have the least but showed up anyway. The rest, the ones who travel, who post inspirational quotes online, haven't even asked how she's doing. I recently found out one of my aunts was in our city for a whole month. A month. Asterisk, asterisk. And she chose to go sightseeing rather than see her older sister. Not even a phone call. Nothing. They've always been selfish, I won't lie. But what truly broke me happened a few weeks ago. We have a family group chat, and like every year, people started sending Happy Women's Day and Happy Men's Day messages. And no one remembered my sick mother. No one. Like she didn't exist anymore. Like she was already gone. That day, I couldn't stay quiet. I sent a voice message. Long one. I didn't yell, but I said everything I felt. I told them not to dare show up at her funeral with long speeches, flowers, and fake tears if they can't make the effort. Now, while she can still recognize them, we don't need their performance. If they don't come now, they shouldn't come at all. And I mean it.
My husband asked me to quit my job, and it wasn't for the family. I'm 36. A few months ago, my husband started pushing me to quit my job. He said our son needed me more, that he could handle the bills, that I deserved to rest. It sounded sweet until it stopped making sense. I've always enjoyed working. It made me feel good. But according to him, a good wife should stay home. I hesitated, but I gave in. It was hard. I was scared, but I quit. Weeks later, a friend who used to work with me messaged me. She said she didn't know if she should tell me, but she couldn't stay quiet anymore. She told me my husband was having an affair with someone from the office, with the head of HR. Someone I shared hours with, jokes, meetings, casual conversations. Someone who knew exactly who I was, who greeted me, who asked me for favors. I didn't quit for my son or our home. I quit so I'd be out of the way. It was his perfect strategy to avoid lying to my face. He just needed me gone. He denies everything, says people are jealous. But he didn't know I had already read the messages. I don't need him to confess. I already know. And now, so does he. I'm not staying. I tried on my mom's wedding dress and found something I wasn't supposed to. My mom kept her wedding dress for years, hoping I'd wear it when the time came. Well, it came. I went to her house, we pulled it out of storage, dusted it off. I put it on. It fit perfectly, like it was made for me. Everything was going great until I put my hand in the side pocket. Yes, it had pockets. And inside, I found a note. An old yellowing piece of paper folded up. The handwriting wasn't my dad's. It said, "You're doing this out of fear. You can still run. If you choose to stay, don't come looking for this later." No name, no date, just that. I asked my mom what it was. She went silent, took the note from my hands and said, "I thought I threw that away." She never explained whose handwriting it was. Just said, "I got married anyway. I don't regret it." I don't regret it either, but I still have the note. And every time I read it, I kind of want to frame it. AITA for yelling at an older woman in a restaurant just because she made a comment about my baby? I'm 35. I'm not the type to start drama with strangers or make scenes in public, but that day, I just couldn't let it go. I was at a restaurant quietly eating with my baby. He was calm, I was calm. We weren't disturbing anyone. Then this older lady, probably in her 60s, dressed perfectly, walked by my table, looked at me like I didn't belong, and said, "Such a shame people don't respect quiet places anymore. There are more appropriate spots to bring babies, you know." That's when I snapped. I didn't yell for no reason. I yelled because I felt humiliated, judged just for being a mom eating alone. I raised my voice and told her clearly, "What's really a shame is people thinking mothers don't deserve to sit and eat in peace, that just because I'm alone with my baby, I must be noisy or annoying. My son is quiet, so am I. If anyone's disturbing the peace here, it's not us." Yes, I spoke loud. And yes, I told her I have a degree, a master's, and a job. That being alone doesn't make me less. That my son, even if he can't talk yet, is better company than most people. She left without saying a word. And honestly, I don't regret it. Maybe yelling wasn't classy. Maybe people judged me for it. But I'm tired of being made to feel like motherhood is something I should hide or apologize for. So, AITA?
What's your biggest lie? I pretend to be the perfect wife on social media. I'm 19, and this is something I could never say publicly. I've always known I'm pretty. Yeah, I know, saying that out loud sounds ridiculous. Shallow. Even arrogant if a woman says it. But I am, and I've known it for a while. That's why I wanted to make a living off how I look. I tried being a content creator. Vlogs, beauty, lifestyle. Nothing worked. There's just too much competition, so many beautiful girls doing the exact same thing. Then I found the tradwife world. And that changed everything. I started posting videos of myself cooking from scratch, speaking softly, saying things like, "My husband deserves to come home to a warm meal." I record myself ironing his shirts, baking with love, decorating the house with fresh flowers. I wear long dresses, lace aprons, perfect hair. The comments are insane. "You're the kind of woman every man dreams of. I'd marry you tomorrow. I'd take care of you like a queen. You're the last real feminine soul left on earth." And worse stuff I won't even type here. Honestly, sometimes I want to scream at them. But they pay my bills. The truth? It's all an act. I party. I order takeout. I only cook for content. I take off the apron as soon as the video ends. I don't want kids. I don't even like the clothes I wear online. I take cooking classes, sewing, flower arranging, traditional homemaking workshops, not because I love it. It's my job. And some of the girls in those classes, they're scary, obsessed with catching a good provider husband. Like, that's the entire goal. Oh, and I almost forgot. If those men knew that I'm the one supporting my boyfriend, and that he does most of the housework in our apartment, they'd lose their minds. Who did you admire until you realized it was all a lie? I'm 17, and for a long time I followed a plus-size influencer who made me feel seen. She used to share wild dating story stuff that sounded like it came out of a movie. There was a muscular Brazilian who was obsessed with her, followed her around and even proposed, but she said she just wanted fun, so she dumped him. Then there was a rich French guy who fell madly in love with her and wanted to fly her to Paris, but she turned him down because his hands were too big and that creeped me out. Another one was a Spaniarda chef in Barcelona who supposedly worshipped her, but she broke up with him because he once sent her flowers with a generic card, and that kind of lack of effort is unacceptable. I believed all of it. I looked up to her. She seemed free, powerful, unapologetic. I wanted to be like her. She made me think I could be confident and attractive regardless of my size. But over time, things stopped adding up. Some stories sounded recycled, some contradicted each other. No one ever saw her on a date. She never showed a boyfriend. Not one real partner ever appeared. And that's when it hit me. It was all made up. A fantasy. A story she told to make girls like me believe we could be desired, adored, admired. But it wasn't real. And when I realized that, it stung. I unfollowed her. For my mental health, and because I got tired of being lied to by someone pretending to be untouchable.
My mom asked my husband to take a paternity test without telling me. I found out by accident. We were at my mom's house and my husband left his phone on the table. A message popped up. "Thanks for agreeing. I've got the sample. I'll let you know when I have the results." I thought it was spam or work-related, but he turned pale. took the phone to the bathroom and stayed in there for like 15 minutes. That night, I asked him what was going on. He told me the truth. My mom had privately asked him to take a paternity test for our son. She said she'd cover all the costs, that it was just to be sure, and that the family had a right to know. She even told him, if you have nothing to hide, this shouldn't bother you. And the worst part? He said yes, out of pressure, because he didn't want drama with my family, because this way, everyone would be at peace. I confronted him, asked if he ever doubted me. He said no. So I asked why he didn't tell me. He answered, because I knew you'd react like this. I haven't spoken to my mom since, and he's been sleeping on the couch for a week. Our son is 2. And yes, he looks exactly like him. But apparently, that's not enough to silence my own mother's doubts.
I post dance covers online, and the hate I get is starting to break me. I'm 22, and I do dance covers on social media with my friends. We dance because we love it. It makes us feel alive. But ever since our videos started getting more views, the hate came in too. And almost all of it is aimed at me. I don't have a perfect body. I'm not skinny, but I'm not what they call fat either. I have thick legs, a soft stomach, regular arms, just a few extra kilos. But apparently, that's enough to deserve the worst. Especially when we do K-pop covers, and I'm in the center. That's when they go off. Why is the fat one always in the middle? Someone stop that whale from dancing. So cringe watching her move like that. Do they not have mirrors? And even though I get supportive comments too, the hate is what sticks. No matter how hard I try, all they see is my body. I've thought about quitting. I've thought about losing weight just to be left alone. Both thoughts make me feel worse. I don't want to stop dancing. I don't want to change just to fit some toxic standard. But some days, I really don't know if I can keep doing this.
Retail workers ever said something that completely shut a customer down? I work as a cashier in a supermarket. It's not the most glamorous job, but it pays the bills and I don't bother anyone. One day, a customer came in already looking like he wanted to pick a fight. He tried to return a half-used product without a receipt, and when I calmly explained that we couldn't accept it, he lost it. He started yelling that I was useless, that people like me are worthless, and then hit me with the classic line, "I pay your salary." I was tired of dealing with people like him, so I replied without raising my voice. "Oh, really? Then give me a raise, because with what you're contributing, I can barely afford breakfast." The lady behind him almost choked from laughing. The guy turned red and walked off, muttering something about disrespect. Sometimes you just stop holding it in. And honestly, I don't regret it.
Am I wrong for breaking a family tradition? The Sunday tradition died with me. My family had a sacred tradition. Every Sunday we all had lunch at my grandparents' house. It didn't matter if you were sick, exhausted from work, or in a fight with someone. You went. No excuses. I grew up with that. It was normal to see my aunt's fake smile while gossiping about each other, or my grandpa staying silent because no one really listened to him. And yeah, sometimes we had fun, but most of the time, it was all just a performance. Still, we went, because family comes first. When my grandpa passed away, my grandma wanted to keep the tradition alive, and we all played along. But for me, it started to feel heavy. I had my own life, my partner, my plans. And I realized it was never really family time. It was just put up with it time. One time, my grandma called me crying because I didn't show up. She said she was all alone, that everyone else had gone except me. I felt terrible. The next Sunday, I went. And found out 2 of my cousins hadn't gone either. She just didn't guilt-trip them. That's when I realized something. I was her emotional target. From that day on, I stopped going. At first, I felt guilty. But over time, it was like a weight lifted off me. Then came the passive-aggressive comments, the side-eyes, the "not everyone is as independent as you" jabs. And yeah, I was the villain for setting boundaries. The tradition died with me. A few months later, more cousins stopped going. Now it's just 3 aunts and my grandma. Sometimes she texts me things like, "You ruined everything." But honestly, I was just the first one tired of pretending.
I found something in my husband's car, and I don't know if I should confront him or run. He's always made excuses about why I can't use his car, says it's messy or needs repairs, or that he doesn't want me to get it dirty. But the car runs perfectly. Last night, he fell into a deep sleep after dinner. He'd left his keys on the table, so I decided to run to the store using his car. It wasn't messy, nothing out of the ordinary. But in the glove compartment, I found a folder. My name was written on it. I opened it. Photos. Of me. Some at work, some out with friends, some at my mom's place, all clearly taken from a distance. There was also a printed copy of my schedule, papers with names of people I know, and a list of addresses, including my ex's, crossed out in red marker. I put the folder back exactly how I found it. I didn't go to the store. I didn't say a word. I acted like I never touched the car. Today, he asked if I had touched his keys. I said no. He smiled and said, "Just asking. Sometimes things move on their own. I don't know if I should talk to him or start packing."
I told her she couldn't smoke in my Uber, and she lost her mind. I've been driving for Uber a while, and I've seen some wild stuff. But this passenger takes the cake. It was nighttime. I picked her up outside a bar. She gets in with a lit cigarette and says, "Mind if I smoke?" I calmly told her yes. I do mind smoking isn't allowed in the car. It's a platform rule, and also a personal one. I wasn't rude, just clear. That's when the drama started. She rolled her eyes, took a long drag, and said, relax. It's just a cigarette, not a bomb." I explained that she could smoke if she wanted to, just not inside the car. He could wait outside. But instead of stepping out, she started yelling that I was uptight, that she was paying me, and this country is full of repressed people. She called me a low-level driver, threatened to give me 1 star, and said she'd ruin my rating, all while puffing smoke like she was marking her territory. I asked her firmly, but still respectful, to get out if she wasn't going to follow the rules. So she stepped out and then stood right next to the open door, blowing smoke into the car like it was some kind of protest. After a few minutes, she stomped out the cigarette on the curb, climbed back in with a smug look like she'd won something, and we drove in total silence. When we arrived, she slammed the door and yelled, "I hope they ban you, cigarette tyrant." And yes, she gave me 1 star. Her comment? Driver made me feel oppressed. Didn't let me express myself.